I still remember the exact moment. My phone buzzed and turned my whole world inside out. It was a plain little notification, the kind you'd ignore any other day, but when I opened it and saw the message from my mom, "Please don't come. We need a drama-free wedding," I swear it felt like someone punched me straight in the chest. What made it even worse was that I could see the tiny reaction bubble beneath it, a heart emoji liked by my own sister, the bride. I stared at that screen for so long that my vision got blurry, and even now I can't decide which part hurt more, the fact that they didn't want me there, or the fact that they didn't even bother hiding it behind a fake excuse. They didn't want me at my own sister's wedding, and they had the nerve to frame it like I was the one who would cause drama. So tell me, was I wrong for what I did afterward? Would you have stayed quiet and swallowed the hurt, or would you have snapped too? But to explain how I got to that moment, I need to take you back to the beginning, before the message, before the wedding plans, before everything finally spilled over. My mom and sister, whom I'll call Lisa, have always had a special kind of relationship. The kind where my mom acted like Lisa, was the sun, moon, and the air we breathed, while I was somewhere in the shadows, useful when needed, invisible when not. Growing up, I tried telling myself that every family had favorites, that it wasn't a big deal, that I shouldn't take it personally. But it was hard not to take it personally when every achievement I made was dismissed with a casual "that's nice," while Lisa's smallest accomplishment was celebrated like she had won a Nobel Prize. If I got an A, my mom wondered why it wasn't an A+. If Lisa passed with a C, she was doing her best. If I bought something with my own money, I was wasting. But if Lisa wanted something, "Of course, sweetheart, you deserve it. Still, I tried, I really did." I went to her events, I listened to her vent, I supported her stupid business ideas, and I even helped her plan the early parts of her wedding when she got engaged to a guy named Ryan, who always gave me weird vibes but seemed to make her happy. That was before things shifted. Suddenly, every time I asked how the planning was going, she acted vague and dismissive, as if I didn't need to know anything because I wasn't that involved anyway. Never mind that I spent hours helping her pick color palettes and venues when she was overwhelmed. She started going out of her way to exclude me from group chats, planning sessions, dress fittings, everything. I found out about major decisions only when she mentioned them casually in front of other people, like she enjoyed seeing me caught off guard, sitting silently while everyone else already knew what she was talking about. Looking back, I think a big part of this started the day I gently told her that her fiancé had made a weirdly controlling comment about who she could or couldn't invite to the reception. It wasn't even criticism, I just said, "Hey, that sounded kinda harsh. Are you okay?" She exploded at me, told me I was jealous, told me to stop trying to ruin her happiness, and after that, she became different. More distant, more defensive, more determined to push me out of anything related to her wedding, and of course, my mom took her side. My mom always took her side. Things worsened 2 weeks before the wedding. I noticed that Lisa and Mom were acting strange around me, whispering when I walked into the room, stopping conversations abruptly, exchanging these looks like they had a secret. I tried ignoring it, telling myself I was being paranoid, but a part of me knew something was coming. Then, the night the message arrived, everything made sense. I was at home, sitting on the couch eating leftover noodles, trying to distract myself with a TV show when my phone buzzed. I picked it up expecting a random notification, maybe a spam call. Instead, I saw my mom's name and those words, "Please don't come. We need a drama-free wedding." I stared at it in disbelief. Drama-free? I hadn't done a single thing. I barely even talked to them recently because they were acting so weirdly exclusionary. I hadn't confronted anyone or started anything. If anything, I was too quiet, and then that little heart emoji below the message, liked by Lisa, was like salt in an open wound. The kind of wound you don't know whether to cry about, scream about, or just sit with in stunned silence. Part of me wanted to immediately call my mom or sister and demand an explanation. Another part of me wanted to pretend I didn't care. But the reality was, it hurt. It hurt in this deep, pulsing way that made me feel like I wasn't just excluded. I was disposable. A few minutes later, another message popped up, this time from Lisa. It's nothing personal. We just don't want negative energy there. Negative energy. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud in disbelief. She had been treating me like an unwanted guest for months, and somehow I was the negative one. I typed a reply at least a dozen times, but every version sounded either too angry or too pitiful. I deleted them all and finally decided to just leave it alone. If they didn't want me there, fine. I wouldn't go, but I wasn't going to play their game either. I wasn't going to beg for inclusion in something that clearly meant more to them than I did. The weirdest part came later that night. I couldn't sleep, so I went out for a drive to clear my head. I was parked outside a convenience store when I saw something strange on social media. Someone posted a short clip from the rehearsal dinner, something I hadn't been invited to, and in the background, I saw Lisa and my mom laughing with Ryan while making this dramatic hand gesture, like they were reenacting an argument. I couldn't hear the audio, but even without it, I knew they were mocking me. My sister mimicked someone crying, wiped fake tears, and then dramatically waved her hand like go away. Everyone laughed. My sister, my mother, her fiancé, a few cousins, people I grew up with, people who had eaten at the same table, slept in the same house, celebrated holidays with me. They all laughed at this little performance of how dramatic I supposedly was. I felt something inside me twist, something raw, something painful, something I hadn't felt before. It wasn't sadness, it wasn't anger. It was this cold realization that they genuinely didn't respect me. Maybe they never did. And here's where things started shifting from heartbreak to something darker. Because as I watched that clip over and over again, something in my mind clicked. All those years of favoritism, of being the afterthought, of being blamed for everything, suddenly it all connected. They didn't accidentally exclude me, they didn't unknowingly hurt me, they enjoyed it, they fed off it. And for the first time, I didn't feel like crying. I felt like making them feel even a fraction of the humiliation they'd put me through. So that's the situation I was in. Before I take you into what happened next, the confrontation, the revenge, the fallout, I want you to pause for a second and tell me honestly, what would you have done in my place? If your own mother and sister told you not to come to a wedding simply because they thought you'd ruin their vibes, would you really let it go? Or would you have let the hurt transform into something sharper, something that demanded to be answered? Comment below what you would have done if you were in my shoes. All right. Now here's what actually happened. The day of the wedding arrived, and true to their message, I stayed home. I didn't text them. I didn't call. I didn't acknowledge any of it. I just sat in my apartment, scrolling through notifications, seeing other people post photos of the ceremony, the decorations, the food, everything I wasn't supposed to be part of. But here's the thing, a few days earlier, after that rehearsal video shook me awake, I found out something interesting about Ryan. A mutual acquaintance messaged me privately, saying she thought I should know something about him. Apparently, he had been texting another girl behind Lisa's back. Nothing physical yet, but the messages were sketchy, flirty, suggestive, definitely not something a committed fiancé should be sending. At first, I didn't care enough to get involved, but then, after the wedding disinvite and the mockery video, I realized something. They pushed me out because they wanted me silent. They wanted to control the narrative. They didn't want me anywhere near the wedding in case I knew something they didn't want exposed. And that's when I checked the screenshots again and noticed a date, a very specific date. Ryan had messaged that girl just 2 nights before the rehearsal dinner, telling her he wished she could have been there instead of dealing with Lisa's meltdowns. My sister, who was mocking me for being dramatic, was apparently having meltdowns that her own fiancé trashed behind her back. Now I could have just sent the screenshots to Lisa directly, but that would have been too easy, too quiet, too respectful. They didn't give me respect, So why should I wrap the truth in softness? Instead, I did something I never thought I'd do. I posted the screenshots anonymously in a small community group connected to our hometown one where I knew wedding guests were active, including bridesmaids and cousins. I didn't add any commentary. I didn't say anything hateful. I simply posted the screenshots with the caption, "Someone should probably tell her," and then I logged off. I thought that would be the end of it. I expected some shocked comments, maybe a confrontation later. What I didn't expect was how quickly things escalated. During the reception, during the actual dinner portion, someone showed the screenshots to Lisa. I didn't see it happen, obviously, but I heard about it later from multiple sources. Apparently, she stormed off in the middle of the table arrangements and confronted Ryan in front of everyone. He denied it at first, claimed they were fake, but the girl he'd been messaging happened to be friends with one of the bridesmaids. She confirmed it immediately, and then chaos began. Lisa started sobbing, yelling at him for embarrassing her on her perfect day. Guests tried to intervene. My mom apparently tried to blame everyone else, shouting that someone was sabotaging the wedding. And then, this is the part that made me sit in stunned silence when I heard it, Lisa screamed. Was it my sibling? Did they do this? My mom reportedly nodded vigorously, insisting that I was the only one who hated the wedding enough to ruin it. People started whispering, some nodding along because, of course, they had heard the story by then. The story that I was the dramatic problem. That I was the reason they had to disinvite a toxic family member. Except here's the beautiful twist. Someone who had seen the rehearsal, dinner mockery video spoke up. They said, "Why would they ruin your wedding when you all were already making fun of them behind their back?" Suddenly, the room shifted. The narrative cracked. People turned on Lisa and my mom, asking why they would humiliate a family member like that. Someone else pointed out that the only reason the screenshots were circulating was because Ryan had actually sent them. In other words, the truth started unraveling publicly, in front of their guests, in front of extended family, in front of co-workers. By the time the screaming and crying settled, the wedding was effectively destroyed. Ryan left early after a huge fight with his own parents, who were disgusted by the messages. Lisa locked herself in her room for over an hour. My mom tried desperately to spin the story, but no one believed her anymore. And me, I was home, making popcorn, watching a movie, blissfully unaware until the texts started coming. The first one was from a cousin who said, "OMG, you will not believe what happened." Then another, then another. Then someone sent me a video clip of the moment Lisa confronted Ryan in front of everyone. Watching that video, seeing the chaos unfold, hearing the gasps, hearing Lisa crack in the way she expected me to crack, it felt surreal. Not joyful, not triumphant, just surreal, like justice unfolding in real time. Later that night, my mom sent me another message. This one wasn't sweet or polite. She wrote, "I hope you're happy. You destroyed your sister's wedding. And guess what?" Lisa liked that message too, the same tiny little heart emoji. I stared at it for a long time. Then I finally replied for the first time. I said, "I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped protecting the people who never protected me." And then I blocked them both. Since that night, the fallout has been intense. Lisa temporarily moved back home, then left again after arguing nonstop with my mom. Ryan and his family are dealing with their own drama. Half the people who attended now know the truth about how I was treated. Some apologized to me privately. Others stayed silent. But one thing is clear. The image my mom and sister tried so hard to build, the perfect family, the perfect wedding, the perfect daughter, crumbled in one night because it was never real to begin with. And here's the part I didn't expect, the part I'm still processing. For the first time in years, I don't feel like the invisible one. I don't feel like the scapegoat. I don't feel like the unwanted afterthought. I feel free, free from their expectations, their judgment, their manipulation. Free from the constant feeling that I'm not enough. I didn't ruin their wedding. They ruined their relationship with me long before that day. So here's my final question to you. Was I really wrong? Or did they finally face the consequences of how they treated me? Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more stories like this, and tell me your final thoughts in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next story.